All right. We have the pleasure of interviewing IndyCar driver Sting Ray Robb today. Thank you for coming on the show. And I think, John, you have the first question.
Damn, hold up.
Or whenever he can pull it up.
You know how it goes. Technical difficulties.
Technology slow.
Welcome to the day.
Describe your racing background for
My
everyone who
racing
doesn't know.
background. So I got my first go-kart when I was 5 years old. And so I began go-karting then. And then when I was 7, we started traveling around to different racing events. Tri-Cities, Washington was the closest for us, being in Idaho. And then from there, I got a driver coach based out of Canada, Vancouver, BC area. His name is Blake Choker. And we watched like his karting videos and got me really inspired to keep going in that direction. And so he ended up coaching me, and we started traveling around to other places across the country. We did the Florida Winter Tour, West Coast Series, East Coast Series. We did it all. And then I started racing internationally. I've been to Spain, Portugal, Belgium, England, France, Italy, all racing go-karts. And then in 2016, I kind of had my transition year from karts to cars. And so I tried everything that there was that I could think of. I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was what I had experienced and wanted to continue in. And so I did dirt cars, I did NASCAR, I did a little bit of sports car driving at the Bondurant Driving School. And then I did open wheel and go-karts over in Italy. And so I ended up settling on Formula Car racing just because I felt like it was the most similar to the go-karts I've been racing with the high speeds, and it's very nimble with a high downforce and high horsepower. And so began my open wheel career in 2017 with World Speed in the Pro Mazda series on the road to Indy. And then I spent a few years there. Ended up winning the championship in 2020 with Juncos Racing in Indy Pro 2000. Got promoted to move up to Indy Lights in 2021. And then this last year, I competed with Andretti Autosport in 2022 in the Indy Lights series, which is now the Indy NXT.
So, with your rookie season in IndyCar this year, what are your goals for this season? Where do you think you can finish?
Yeah, I definitely have a few goals. I can't share them all, but definitely one of them is to be Rookie of the Year. I think that, with David being a rookie last year with the same team that I'll be driving for, he did really well, competed for Rookie of the Year, had a podium finish, really strong race at Gateway, St. Louis, and I think that all that is on the table for us this year. So I think that he'll give me a good baseline to work from, and then I'll see what I can learn throughout the season.
John?
Do you have a rival driver or someone that is your favorite to compete against?
I think every year that kind of changes, just with the different series that we're in. It seems like guys they're going to be really good one year and they kind of struggle the next. But I think that a good comparison is always your teammate. You're always trying to beat your teammate. If you beat them, then you're going to have a good day. So I think in the past, guys that I've fought with a lot, Devlin DeFrancesco was one of them in 2020. He was someone that really challenged me. He finished second in the championship that year. This last season, my teammates were really strong. And so Christian Rasmussen, Hunter McElroy, Matt Brabham, those were all guys that pushed me to excel. And I ended up beating them in the championship, but we were all really close. And I think that we all had a fairly balanced level of where we stood. And so it's nice to have those people that I can respect and compare against. But, rivalry, I don't know. That's tough to say.
Is there a particular track that you think you have a good chance of winning at, or do you just have a favorite track looking at the schedule for this year?
Looking at the schedule for this year, I definitely want to make sure that the ovals are a priority. The team's done really well there in the past. Gateway, Texas, both were great races for Dale Coyne Racing. They had really good cars. Even the Speedway. Running the Indy 500 this year is going to be a whole new experience, but I'm looking forward to it. I think that, you can always get lucky at the 500. Anything can happen. So, and that's the beautiful thing about IndyCar racing is that you just got to show up every weekend, do the right things, and then maybe you get lucky, maybe you don't. So I don't know. I really want to enjoy Long Beach. It'll be my first time running there. I really like the street courses. All the West Coast races are fun for me just because I have family and friends that get to come to those. But Laguna Seca has been historically a great track for us, for myself. And then I think the team will learn as much as they can throughout the season to give me a good car there.
What would you say has been your greatest accomplishment so far in your racing career?
Probably winning the 2020 Indy Pro 1000 Championship, just because I mean that was a rough year I think for everyone, with COVID hitting and everything. But it was a good year for us in the sense that we got to compete still, and it was a good field of drivers. So I was happy to win that, and then finishing second this last year in Indy Lights was pretty good as well. Obviously, I wanted to win, but it was still a good season.
So, besides IndyCar, are there any other series that you'd like to run or you're planning on running in anytime soon?
I got some bucket list items I want to check off at some point in my career. Formula One was always like my dream growing up as a young kid before I knew what IndyCar was. And so I'd love to drive an F1 car someday. Like, I don't even need to race one. I just want to drive one to see what it's like. Definitely want to do some Baja stuff. The Baja 1000 was something I almost had an opportunity to do a couple years ago. And so I think the off-road racing is just super insane. I mean, the guys that do that are absolutely ludicrous. They're good at what they do. But definitely want to do that at some point. V8 supercars, I think, are rad. Watching Scott McLaughlin come over here and whoop up on us in IndyCar has been kind of fun to watch. And I think it'd be cool to step into his shoes and what he had before.
Are there any other series or sports that you enjoy watching and being a fan of?
So I played basketball in high school, and I really like watching basketball now. Being in Indianapolis now, I have a lot of schools that are here close. So I went to a Pacers game recently. That was fun to watch. I went to a Butler game. That was fun. So I think I follow basketball the most closely, but Dodgers are my team in the MLB. My family's all big Dodger fans. Sorry to disappoint, but go Dodgers.
Yeah, we're both Braves fans.
Well, there you go. And then, other than that, college football is always something that we cheer on during the season. Being from Idaho, Boise State's our team with the blue turf. Everyone recognizes that, so it's fun to watch them.
There's one good team, I guess, that we can agree on.
Yeah.
So I think probably the most hard-hitting question we got for you: will you be on an episode of Bus Bros at any time this season?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that's on the table. I'd like to be. I'd like to be considered one of the Bus Bros there. So I've looked up to Joseph a little bit. He's another American driver that's done well enough and obviously won a few championships in his time. So I wouldn't mind sitting down and talking to him and learning a thing or two.
Well, that's really all we got.
Hold up.
So
it's not
you
all
got
we
something?
got. Yeah. Normally we ask our NASCAR drivers what era of NASCAR they would race in, but what era would you want to race in and what car of any racing series ever?
Oh, man. That's tough. I think if I had to choose, I'd maybe go 80s B-spec era rally racing. I think that'd be pretty rad. And then also like early 90s F1. During like the time when Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, all those guys were there. The Ayrton Senna documentary was actually something that inspired me when I was pretty young. And I kind of looked up to him as like a driver that I wanted to become someday. And that's why I got a big interest for F1. So I think to drive one of those cars would be insane. I think that was like the last generation of cars that were just pure raw horsepower. Like you had to really wheel them to make a lap time out of them. So I think they're cool.
Thank you for coming on once again. I guess unless you got something else, John, I can't think of anything.
Who's your Super Bowl pick?
Yeah.
My Super Bowl pick? Oh, man, who do we have left? We got the Bengals.
Bengals and KC, and then Niners and Eagles.
Oh, man. Burrow has been crazy lately. The dude's been popping off. So it's hard to vote against him, but at the same time, KC is good. But if they're missing their QB, it's hard to say. I heard that he's got some injuries maybe on the table. So I'd probably go Bengals. I'd like to see him do well. I think Joe Burrow's a good young gun, and it'd be fun to see him upset some people.
I've learned not to go against Burrow.
Yeah, I think that's wise.
I learned that the hard way as a Bama fan a few years ago.
Oh, there you go.
I learned it the hardest.
Yeah.
We got blown out.
Yeah.
I think that's all.
That's our interview with Sting Ray Robb. We will show this next week during our normal
business
live
hours.
stream.
Awesome. Very good.
So